Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about our great friends over at Streetside Brewery. My goodness, located over in the Columbia Tusculum area, let's call it. Okay, it's a little vague, right? Exactly where they are, but I think that's going to work. And it's a fantastic brewery. I, for my money, best brewery in the city. They are doing some fantastic stuff. Incredible beer, a wide variety. The brewery is incredible. You've got to go check it out. I know Grayson was there for the last away game. It's a great spot to go, especially for FC Cincinnati away matches. But I've taken in plenty of Reds games there before. I've taken in Bengals games there before. It is not to say that it's a sports bar, but it's just a nice, relaxing environment. The patio this time of year is incredible. Absolutely love it. And the staff is always extremely friendly. So if you've not done it, go. You owe it to yourself. Go check out Streetside Brewery. Make it this weekend. Have a good time with it, and you will not be disappointed. So thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this episode, and thank you, dear listener, for checking them out. And on today's episode, there is plenty to talk about around FC Cincinnati. Matt Doyle talked quite a bit about FC Cincinnati in his latest mailbag, and we dive into it. Basically was asked, who you blaming for the slow start of FC Cincinnati, Pat Noonan or Chris Albright? So we tackle that. We get Grayson's thoughts on Neymar as well. And then, of course, we're looking ahead to this weekend where the Chicago Fire, sneaky Chicago Fire, second place in the East, comes to town. No Kevin Denke. What do we see on the back line? Who do we see starting up top without Denke? It's going to be an interesting one, but you throw it all together and you got yourselves a lovely little midweek postcast.
Oh, and joining me to talk about all of that and more is Grayson. Grayson, I don't know if Kevin is going to join us in time to do the intro to the show.
That's all right.
We'll see. But either way, it's going to be an okie doke. If Kevin does the intro and then all of a sudden it's me, then, we're just disappointing people that are expecting Kevin to be here to moderate our discussions for the first couple minutes until he joins us.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on. Team sucks. I mean, who cares?
We are truly in we really need to have Jonah on just to explain to us how you're supposed to do a podcast when the team is not great. How do you do that? Because I can't sing or play an instrument.
Right.
So
I do want to point out that by the numbers, I don't think this is true at its heart and soul. Okay.
Okay.
But by the numbers, the team is as bad, more or less, as it's ever been in MLS.
That's terrifying. But that doesn't feel right. Like,
sure, yeah. But if you think about it this way also, they were exceedingly lucky to get 4 of the 7 points.
Yeah.
Because both of those were coming from behind down a man.
Yeah. Over 50% of the points they've scored this year have been with a man disadvantage, as we pointed out on the weekend show. Yeah. It's funny how in a season like this, when they were bad in 2019, 2020, 2021, when this team was bad, there were players on the team where you'd look at it and be like, you know what? Yeah, I see it. Kamahila Makocho sucks. Like, I can't. I get it.
Caleb Stanko can't do anything.
Right. Like these guys are awful. I don't get the sense of that here. Like you look at this lineup and you look at the lineups these teams are playing. And I think that for the most part, we think that these are good players. I don't know that they're as good as perhaps maybe they were advertised when people were talking about how good this roster was last year. But there's not guys on the team where you look at them and you're like, oh, this guy can't play. just an outright liability on the field.
So I think that there's a few things going on, right? Like there are players that they're certainly overpaying.
Yeah.
For what they bring. Like
speaking, hold on. Before we get into that, speaking of people that are overpaid for what they bring, I want to welcome on to the Cincy Postcast, Kevin Wallace. Kevin Wallace joining us on the Postcast. Kevin, how the hell are you? And how was it watching Sal Stewart be the greatest person ever to play baseball?
Sal Stewart is the real deal. And I want to echo the comments that I saw in the Discord earlier. He needs to pull the sword on Saturday. We need to bottle this energy and these vibes as much as possible. Incredible. Chief, let me quickly throw this stat at you. The Reds currently have, I believe I have this right, the longest continuous streak in Major League Baseball of Hall of Famers on the roster. So you've had Hall of Famers overlap in just a way that goes far enough back in time that nobody else can beat it. It goes up to what I think we can all hope and assume is Joey Votto.
Right.
Sal Stewart looks like our best bet right now. He does not overlap with Joey Votto. The only one who does is Elly De La Cruz. I really need Elly De La Cruz to step it up this year because he's the only chance we have to continue this streak.
Dude, Elly hit a fucking bomb today. Yes. I know that we've been trying, and I've been trying not to curse so much on the podcast, but like that was
sometimes
maybe
hits a bomb.
Farthest. That was maybe the farthest home run I've ever seen in Great American Ballpark.
It was so good, and it came
I've seen. I'm not saying the farthest, after, but like it was crazy.
I was at the game. I was at a game once where Willie
Sal
Mo
hit behind Elly.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I was at a game where Willie Mo Pena hit a home run where it was still going up when it hit the facade. That's like the hardest ball I've ever seen hit in my life. Like that thing would have broken through the arena if the right field stands weren't where they were in Great American Ballpark. Kevin, not to be a downer on things, we were talking about how much this FC Cincinnati team sucks when you walked in and brought all this positive energy.
Oh, no. Okay. Let me reset my vibe here.
Reset your vibes. Yeah, no, we're not talking about that. As much fun as it is to think about my eventual trip to Cooperstown to welcome Joey Votto into the Baseball Hall of Fame, I will be there. That is like a thing that I am doing. I am making the pilgrimage for that. And where we were when you decided to join us, welcome. And thank you for hopping on, because I only can think how mad people get when they turn the postcast on and I'm doing the read and the open and they're thinking, oh my God, this knucklehead is in charge. We're going to get 30 minutes about, the Marvel Cinematic Universe or, plot holes in Deep Space Nine or some shit like that. The thought was out there, and we're going to pivot this here to Matt Doyle's article here in a second. There is method to this madness, but this idea that Grayson brought up that statistically this start to the FC Cincinnati season is as bad as the worst start that this team has, as bad as any other start this team has had, and they've had some bad starts, and I'm having trouble reconciling this with the idea of when those seasons were being played, you'd look at the roster and you'd be like, yeah, these guys suck. It completely stands to reason as to why this team's no good. And maybe I like this team more and I like the individual players for some reason more. I'm more attached to them, but it doesn't feel like this is a roster that is equally as bad as the teams that produced those bad starts. And Grayson, to your point, I totally get the idea that they're overpaying some guys. They're overpaying, especially at the center back position. There's a misallocation of resources here. But even saying that, I don't know, other than maybe like Brenner, that there's or even Brenner would have been 2021. Let's even go back to like 2020. I don't know that there's any player other than maybe Yuya Kubo on the 2020 roster that I would start over any player that's currently in the starting lineup on this roster.
I mean, so Kevin, before you jump in, there was a couple of things I just wanted to address real quick. Like, they are paying a lot of money at the center back position to players like Hadebe and Miazga and Gilberto Flores. When you think about like the transfer fee they paid to get him here, and to all be as good or no better than Nick Hagland.
Yeah,
which is crazy. And then, to talk about something that was called out in Doyle's article, he mentioned that, a team that aspires to win things shouldn't really be starting Tom Barlow. And you can say what you want about Tom Barlow, but like, they have a forward that they paid nearly $1 million in transfer fee and who's making a pretty good salary that we'll find out, shortly what he's making, who just rides the bench and doesn't even get subbed in when they're down a goal. And that's Ayoub Jabari. And so it's like, I really like that signing. There's two signings in particular. Teenage Hadebe, picking up the option and exercising the purchase on Ayoub Jabari, that I really want to know what Chris Albright was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see like the dry erase board of like, this is the factors that we considered, the pluses, the minuses, and this is why we did that move, because I can't rationalize either of them.
The only way you can rationalize the Hadebe pickup in particular is if the goal out of all of this was to move Matt Miazga in the offseason. And if that's the case,
Brian Schaefer.
Just saying, if you thought that there was a reality where you were going to be able to extract $100,000 or $250,000 in GAM for Matt Miazga from some other team, then that would be an explanation for why you pick up Hadebe's number. The only other explanation was if they thought that there was some understanding they were going to be able to get him on a lower contract number on a yearly basis, but they add years onto the deal. We speculated both of these two scenarios, and I would, other than those specific things, and specifically the Miazga thing, because we all expected that Miazga was going to be on the move, that there was, we all said this, that none of us thought there was any reality Matt Miazga was going to be playing on a 1-year deal with FC Cincinnati. We all thought either you pick up the option and trade him, or you pick up the option and he's healthy enough that you extend him and, get the number down. But the fact that that didn't happen because he was unavailable for such a long stretch of the preseason and there was no meaningful opportunity to showcase him, I do wonder if that wasn't the goal here, and that was just a gross miscalculation by Chris Albright as to, number one, how healthy Miazga was going to be, and number two, what the market for Matt Miazga was.
Yeah.
Even so, like, let Hadebe go. Like, either like let him go, free up the roster, and like play somebody from the 2 team there. Play Alvis Powell there. Play Kyle Smith there, which is what you're doing anyway.
Right.
Like, they've done all this stuff this season anyway with him on the roster.
I don't
that money.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could use the money. All those guys, they all suck though. Like none of the options that you're talking about are good options.
They're not making $1 million, but they're not making $1 million.
That's true.
Yeah. I'd rather have somebody who sucks there not making $1 million than somebody who sucks there making $1 million, or somebody on the bench, or not even in the 20 making $1 million.
That's the toughest part. And Grayson, I completely agree with you on those two specific player decisions, because when I think back to basically every player Chris Albright has brought in, I can understand the case for every single one of them. I might disagree. Like, I don't know that I would have brought back Miazga if I didn't necessarily have a deal in place one way or the other. And I know that people may disagree. Chris Albright disagreed, and that's fine. And I would get that. But signing Ayub Jabari never really made sense. Like the argument didn't really make sense. And
what did he show?
Nothing.
What did he show that Kai Kamara didn't show that you couldn't have gotten for literally a tenth the price?
Yeah. Like if you were just looking for a big body, they were available in the super draft. Like you could have found someone that's big. Like, because otherwise nice wheels on the assist to bail him out this year. But that's the problem, is that you see a flash of something and then the man disappears when he gets any sort of like extended minutes on this. Quickly before we go on, here I'm going to read you the starting lineup for FC Cincinnati's scintillating 3-2 loss to the New York Red Bulls in 2020, prior to the lockdown, when we all thought we were going to have ourselves a full season. And you tell me, if I'm going to go position by position, you tell me if you would take this person on FC Cincinnati over the current option that they have for the start. In goal, Spencer Ritchie.
No.
Your center backs, Kendall Waston.
No.
Maybe.
Everything you hate about Teenage Hadabi is exactly the same about Kendall Waston.
Kendall was better.
I think Kendall was better. Even in
Kendall was also making more money than Teenage was too.
He was a DP.
Was he? No, Kendall was not a DP.
Wasn't he?
Kendall
he was
was
making
like
a lot of money.
$600,000.
Teenage
is making more than $1 million.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna keep going through, but I'm gonna do some fact checking here.
Vanderwerf as your other center back.
No.
All right. On the left, your left back, Greg Garza.
If I get healthy, Greg Garza, maybe. But not the Greg Garza we got.
You never got Greg Garza healthy.
I always feel obligated to point out that when Greg Garza played for FC Cincinnati, the team's points per game were a playoff pace. Kendall Waston made $750,000.
It's not chump change.
Not $1 million.
No,
it's close to $1 million.
$1 million too.
Round up to $1 million.
That would have been.
It's less, and he's a better
over
player.
The max salary at that point, which is probably
he was definitely a TAM. Yeah, he was a TAM player.
Yeah, but are we really going to debate over whether 1.2 million is more than $750,000
for inflation? Hang on.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, it's in 2020 dollars too, so we got to take that into account. Your right back, Matthew Deplange. No. You're in the center of the midfield, Harris Medunjanin. Don't underestimate him. That's number one.
Maybe. Honestly, maybe.
No. You take Harris Medunjanin over either.
He plays a pass.
Over Evander, Buka, and Gidi. Who of those three is sitting for Harris Medunjanin?
Gidi.
Buka.
Ooh. That's coming from Grayson.
Wow. All right. Up top, you have Yuya Kubo.
Medunjanin plays a pass.
Yuya Kubo.
Wait. You only said one midfielder.
Yeah, there's only one midfielder in this little graphic right here. I'm going to read the next four all together.
Oh, okay.
It has us playing a 4-1. It has us playing a 4-1-4-1. Cool. Thank you, ESPN.
This? That's so weird.
Who knew? I guess if we're going with midfielders, then like the guys that are playing midfield, Frankie Amaya.
No.
Maybe.
As a defensive mid over. Maybe.
I think it's a push at best. So no.
Yeah,
it's a push.
Alan Cruz, who was a DP.
No.
Damn.
No. I'm not sure he was a DP in 2020, but he was a DP.
Yeah. On one wing, Yuya Kubo, who I'd take right now over
I'd take
Tom
2020
Barlow.
Yuya Kubo as our second striker, yes.
Yeah, over Tom Barlow.
I got another player
all day, every day.
I got another player in my...
Adrian Regatin on the right-hand side.
No.
Now, up top, Brandon Vasquez, because Jurgen Locadia had just arrived and was not He subbed in late in the game to score his goal.
So here's the question. Is Brandon Vasquez my second striker in this case? Absolutely 100%. Am I taking Brandon Vasquez over Kevin Denke? No.
Still yes.
Oh, no.
Maybe not 2020 Brandon Vasquez.
Chief, pull up the roster against Nashville in 2021.
Oh, that's a fun roster. Holy shit.
All right.
The first 10 minutes of that game, we might have been the best team on planet Earth. And then it all went
I was
hell.
ready.
Yeah. All right. So this would have been April 17th. I remember vividly watching this game. Okay. 2021 FC Cincinnati. Also playing a back four. We'll go through it again. Goalkeeper Przemysław Titan.
No.
Center back Tom Pedersen.
No.
Center back Nick Hagland.
Depends who. Obviously, he's still there, so yeah.
He's still there, yeah, obviously.
I would replace Nick Hagland with Nick Hagland.
Nick Hagland. Actually, I think the current version of Nick Hagland is better than this version of Nick Hagland.
With that, yes.
Yeah. So the answer is no. I'll take my Nick Hagland over your Nick Hagland.
Fair enough.
Left back Ronald Matarrita. That's a no from me, dog.
Yes.
I think I would.
Obviously, yes.
Matarrita? No.
I like him a lot.
On the right side, Joe Zhao. I'd take Joe Zhao back.
No.
You
not over Ender.
Not over Ender, no. I like Joe Zhao. It's got a soft spot.
I have a soft spot.
I like Joe Zhao, too. I think Joe Zhao would have been good with Pat Noonan.
Yeah. Your midfielders.
Meet.
Midfielders. Lucho Acosta? Obviously, yes.
Yes.
Yuya Kubo. Not as a midfielder, I don't think.
Not in the midfield, no. Hang on, are we taking Acosta over Evander?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's still a yes, but I'm way more hesitant.
Acosta plays defense.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I agree with Grayson on that too.
But
I think it's
2021 Lucho. Who's good?
I'd take any Lucho. I'd take any Lucho.
Any Lucho right now, yeah. Here's a hard no from all three of us. Kamahilo Makocho.
I would be upset if he was on FCC too.
Yeah. Your left wing, DJ Calvin Harris. No.
Is he an upgrade over Tom Barlow?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I'd hear the argument.
If Barlow's on a supplemental roster spot, if Harris is making $1 more than that, he's overpaid. On the right-hand side, Alvaro Barreal.
Yeah.
I'm taking him over Ender Echenique, I think, in this situation.
All day, every day.
I'm taking him over anybody on the current roster, basically.
And then up top, Brenner.
Yes,
dude. That in that game, especially that Brenner looked like the best player in MLS history for those specific 90 minutes of that game. And also, I would take Brenner all day, every day. Beyond that, even this is all sort of setting up.
Vasquez was on the bench.
Vasquez was on the bench. On the bench, who'd they have here? They had as substitutes. Caleb Stanko, Harris Medunjanin, Jurgen Lakadia, Alan Cruz, Bebe. What's Cody Croppen, Brandon Vasquez, Edgar Castillo,
great goal,
Ben Mines. And if either one of you can name the last player wearing number 27, I will pick your bar tab up for the remainder of the season.
You said number 27.
Was it Chris Duval?
It was not Chris Duval.
Florian Valot.
No,
he was off the team.
Avion Flanagan.
Flanagan. He's had a solid career in USL since he left us.
There you go.
Where's he?
I do want to point out that if that team was starting two strikers, which the team did a couple of times, those two strikers would have been Vasquez and Brenner.
Yeah.
Playing in front of Lucho Acosta.
Yeah.
And I do think
that tended to work out. That tended to work out well for us when we did that.
And I think that if you were to play 2 strikers today in front of a 10, you'd pick the 2021 trio over the 2026 trio.
Yeah.
And the 2026 trio just happens to cost like $30 million more.
So this is all $20
million more.
Yeah.
$15 million.
This is all sort of leading up to Matt Doyle's newsletter this week, which if you don't subscribe, Matt Doyle's. He bothers me with how obsessed he is with teenagers playing soccer. But other than that, good dude, good read, solid. He starts his column this week with a quote from Kevin Wallace on Blue Sky, the Some Things app. Some of it is happening on Blue Sky.
That's a pretty good description.
We can't talk about it. If we do talk about it, probably canceled. Yeah.
Kevin Wallace asks, who you blaming, Noonan or Albright? And then Doyle goes into this right here. He gives the apologies for Pat Noonan and Chris Albright in their turnaround of FC Cincinnati, which, objectively still remains one of the more incredible stories in professional sports that they managed to get this team turned around. And these are the reasons that he lists right here. This is his analysis, and I want to pick your brains on what you think about this. He says, I'm of the opinion that the guys with the kind of track record that Noonan and Albright have should be given a very long leash to attempt to turn it around again. But they have made or making some big mistakes, the type that compound and exacerbate pre-existing issues. I'm going to list the 2 big ones. This is Doyle talking, that I'm seeing, one from Albright and one from Noonan. Number 1, the roster Albright has put together is much longer on athleticism than skill, with maybe only 2 guys, Sammy Geedy and Evander, I'd consider to be above average passers at their respective positions. That means since he can't control. Yeah, hold on. Let me finish this out and then you can.
Yeah, finish it. Yeah.
That means since he can't control the game with the ball. And bear in mind that in Evander's case, he's very much all or nothing in his passing choices. He's not trying to impose tactical control. He's either creating a chance or a turnover. That's it. So that's point number 1 he makes. Grayson, you wanted to hop in right there.
Yeah. There was literally like 2 days ago an article in The Athletic about like why Tottenham, despite having spent like the 11th most money in the entire world on their roster, are sitting in the relegation zone in the Premier League. And it was basically that statistically they prized athletes over good passers, and that very few of the players on their team are above average passers for their position. They have like 2 guys in the top 150 passers in the entire Premier League. It was just such an interesting coincidence for those 2 to come for that column and Doyle's observations, which frankly echo what we've heard for going on a year from Nate Gilman. About FC Cincinnati.
I've been beating this drum for almost 2, that the passing is bad. It's not creative. It's not interesting. It's poorly weighted balls. It's rare that you get opportunities on the half turn. It's rare that passes go to space instead of people.
And we don't know what we're talking about, but
we do not.
We have said for a couple of years, right? Like
we're
comparing
morons.
like us to the crew, that like the ball moves faster than you do. And so the most effective way to move the ball and control the ball is to like be good at passing and like find good passes and like move to be available for passes. And like, again, like we don't know what we're talking about. We are firmly in the class of what Evander was talking about in his Instagram post when he said people who just started watching soccer yesterday. But like, is it good to lose 6-1? I don't know. Someone who knows about soccer should tell me if that's good.
Yeah, that happened yesterday as well. It's funny that when I see this, And if you're of a certain age as a Cincinnati sports fan, and this is actually bringing this conversation somewhat full circle, is that this was always the knock on when the Reds were bad. The knock on the Cincinnati Reds, especially under their former general manager, Jim Bowden, was that they drafted and prioritized tools instead of ball players. So Jim Bowden would obsess over 5 tool players, where it was like, oh, this guy, he can jump out of a building. He can lift his weight on the squat rack 3 times over. You should see how much power he has. You should see how effortlessly he fields. It's like, yeah, can he hit for contact? Can he like make contact with the ball? Can he spot a curveball? You know, what is that? What does all these things do? It's like, yeah, you can tell me he has great power, but like you got to make contact with the baseball for power to matter. And so you would end up with all these.
How hot his girlfriend is.
Clearly. Yeah, ugly girlfriend means low confidence. We all know this from the Oakland Athletics.
Yes.
But you ended up with all these guys on the Reds, like Willie Mo Pena, or Adam Dunn, or even Dunn's a bad example because at least Dunn almost hit 500.
Dunn was a 5-tool player. Yeah.
The 5th tool was the ability to crush an entire case of Natty Light in one sitting for him.
Can striking out be a tool? That would have been useful.
Yeah, like Ruben Mateo, like guys like that were these outfielders that couldn't play ball worth a lick, but they were incredible athletes. And just that it's something I think that it's noticeable on this FC Cincinnati team, for me at least. Doyle's second point, Cincy's structure in those moments is bad. This is on Noonan, and you can see it in their spacing almost constantly. You can see it in their reactions, as rather than snapping immediately from attack in possession to defend in transition, they collectively tend to spend a few beats sort of looking around and figuring out what comes next rather than, as one, dictating what comes next, which means they can't control the game without the ball. The first one is a strategic issue that needs solving, and the second one is a tactical issue that needs to be addressed immediately. Long term, though, I am most worried about Cincy's logistics, i.e. their talent pipeline. Remember that turnaround was fueled as much by some good draft picks, Roman Celentano and Ian Murphy, and the development of young guys that weren't considered sure thing. This is where Doyle gets on his, at full mast about teenagers rant here. Brandon Vasquez and Alvaro Barrial, as it was expensive signings. They didn't buy their way out of the ditch. Guys like that now mostly don't exist in Cincy's roster. I'm not sure whether that's because Noonan is reluctant to play and develop young guys who don't come with a pedigree, or if it's because Albright doesn't rate the internal player pathway. Yada, yada, yada. I fully disagree with Matt Doyle. I think every minute you spend watching a teenager play sports is a wasted minute that should be going to someone that actually, can win a game versus having to be taught how to shave. But I do agree with the general perception. Like if you expand his point outward to the idea that they are not getting surplus value out of a lot of their roster spots right now, I agree with that.
Yeah, no.
This is the first year that Albright has not been able to bring in a player on loan that has someone else covering some of his salary fee. Last year, that was Lucas Engel. The year before, it was Luca Orshano. The year before, it was Yerson Mosquera. A lot of what he has done successfully has depended on, getting 1 or 2 players who are basically free or reduced cost relative to the talent level they have. He didn't do that this year. And I think we're seeing the result of that in, wouldn't it be nice if we had a second striker that was on loan right now at a reduced contract cost from somebody else? Or wouldn't it be great if we had, another option in the midfield that was low or reduced cost, or a center back that was low or reduced cost? And without that, the bench is really thin and the money just doesn't money to me.
What kills me about the roster is a lot of the problems with it are problems that like pundits and folks like Nate and others identified like at the time of the signing. And my predisposition has always been to assume, like Chris has more information than I do. He knows more about soccer than I do. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on all of this. And to see like just randos time and again have like the signings pegged, it does not fill me with a lot of joy. And it makes me like kind of seriously question what they're looking at, what they're thinking. And I know that Noonan has had a lot of criticism from fans and folks online, and I think not like entirely unfairly, because you look at the roster and you still think there should be enough talent on the team to get some results. And then you look at just like the behavior on the field does not seem like a team that is led well or cohering. I mean, we're looking at, 4 red cards in a row and just a lot of behavior among the team, just out of frustration. And this is stuff that should be within the coaching staff's, ambit. But I feel for Pat that he has to come out after every game and answer questions. He has to come out midweek and answer questions. And he's not really in a position to address maybe the root issues or like the more systematic issues with the team, which are roster based. And, maybe it's time for Chris Albright to spend a little bit more time in the media, a little bit more time answering questions instead of just like, sending emails to Tom Bogert about what's going on.
Can I just say, like, it's wild to me that there's anyone that makes a dime playing pro soccer at a level at least as high as MLS that can't pass. Like, that seems to be
they make a lot of dimes because we sign them.
Right. But like, that seems to be table stakes to be even involved in a league that you would buy from to play in MLS. That can you pass the soccer ball effectively? Like, I get the idea that we're bad at evaluating that, but like, how are the teams we're buying these players from bad at evaluating this too? Like,
they might be fine at evaluating it, but then like Chris Albright comes along and he's like, here, I'll give you like $3 million for Brian Ramirez. And what's the team in Ecuador supposed to do? Say, well, you
I don't know what
pass.
Well, I mean, why is the team in? Why is he on the team? Why is he on the team? Why is he on the team in Ecuador if he can't pass? Like, at some points, but you still have to pass in a league like that. Even a shitty league, you still have to be able to pass.
He's the guy they have,
It's like, what? Like, are we going exclusively to leagues where they just dribble and like no one ever passes the soccer ball? What do these games look like? Like, I get if like you were scouting a quarterback from Army and you'd be like, yeah, no, that's probably a bad move on your part, looking to get the guy that runs the option. But it's like at a certain point, like you got to be able to do some basic soccer stuff to even be on the radar of anyone.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like with some of these guys, they did perform in their prior teams. And they did perform, at least to some level, in competitions that we respect, right? Like,
yeah,
Brian Ramirez performed in Copa Libertadores.
Yeah.
Pavel Buka performed in European competition, right?
Yeah.
Sammy Guidi was well regarded, although he is a player who Doyle says is good at passing. So maybe he's a bad example, but he performed in European competition. He was like very well regarded across Europe as a prospect, and he's still getting called into the Slovak youth national teams there. And so like, I don't think it's entirely true that they just happen to accidentally sign a bunch of players who don't understand tactics, can't pass. I do think it's partially true that they signed the wrong players for a good lineup. And then going back to like And then going back to like, the Jabari Habibi situation, like what? I don't know.
That's what always is tough for me is like, at the end of the day, we've seen Pat Noonan be successful with a team that was largely built by Jared Nijkamp, who was not a good
with an
GM.
Attack largely built by him.
Fair. But what happened to the like common sense floor raising signings that made that team function and good? Like, as much as the offense has
they
been
traded away Ian Murphy.
Yeah. Like, we want the offense to be better, and I think it should be better, but at the end of the day, like, the defense is bad, and like no theory of this team works with a bad defense. Like, this is not an offense that is going to win a track meet. And that's what is killing me is like, where is that piece of it missing? Like, I'm fine criticizing Albright for the roster build and the head scratching decisions and all of that, but like, there's got to be, it can't be this at the end of the day.
Yeah,
with the roster.
To some extent, right? Like, you have had a couple of games without Miles, but you also had a lot of games with Miles where you gave up a lot of goals. Yeah. And like, so my understanding, and I'm not going to source this to anybody, and people can take me, can believe me or not believe me. My understanding is the team was very surprised that fans were questioning / worried / upset about using a DP spot on Miles Robinson. And that baffles me. And I'm still baffled by the fact that the team is using a DP spot on Miles Robinson and the roster is the way it is.
It's funny because I think it's a fair criticism, but I think even if you took away Miles Robinson, the premium roster spots.
Yeah, you can give up 6 goals without Miles Robinson.
Right. Yeah. But like, you've got a U22 center back and you've got 2 guys making $1 million+ at center backs. I bet even without Miles, we're still spending top 5, top 10 on center backs in this league. Like,
yeah,
there's missing Miles Robinson should not mean, epic defeats are on the table now.
The thing that, and we've been up and down with people, and like, I do understand and believe that there's a good case for still having patience, but in Doyle's column, he said that like, we want to have we can win by having better talent in both boxes. And if that's really what they thought, that's the best argument for people losing their job.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with Miles Robinson in particular, we've said it before. Like, to me, I'm going to hold off on being mad about that until I find out that he's stuck as a designated player after the roster rules are announced. If it was a 1-year thing, I mean, and like they had to do it. Right. Yeah.
I'm mad about shipping the season.
Well, if it was a choice between having Miles Robinson for another 4 years and having to like eat your vegetables this year, I mean, I don't know. We're talking like I'm making a pre-excuse over something that I don't know to be true, and I'm not gonna. Maybe Chris
Albright should come out and say that.
He can't,
because
nobody can say that.
Right now, we had like a massive season ticket price increase, and I'm not like here to complain about season ticket prices, but we had a big season ticket price increase, and we've been fed a lot of lines about what happened the last couple of seasons and about what the team should be doing this year. And it turns out that all the outside observers who had opined about the team were dead on, and either the folks running our team had no clue, or they fed us a bunch of baloney.
Malarkey, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only other thing before we head over to part 2 and get our preview in here is we did a lot on Neymar over the weekend. Go back and listen to that if you want to hear Kevin and I's unfiltered thoughts. Grayson, I want to take your thoughts on Neymar in a second, since you weren't able to offer them with everybody else. Here is the latest on Neymar to FC Cincinnati. If you listen to the World's Gam, Dave Goss offers some thoughts on Neymar. He thinks it's real. He put the percentage chance, I think about 10% is what he said, if I'm remembering correctly. Go listen to the World's Gam, wherever you get your podcasts. If so, latest on it, Neymar himself has sounded off on the rumors now. He had some media availability down in Brazil. Here is his direct quote, and this comes from Territorio MLS on FC Cincinnati's interest. Quote, "I don't know anything about it. I don't know. And that's referring to whether there's a chance to leave in the next window. Honestly, I don't know. I have a contract with Santos until the end of the year, and I intend to fulfill it." Apparently down in Brazil and in South America, and I think we've known this based on, some other quotes, they apparently don't understand how familiar Americans are with this type of quote from college football head coaches, where it fully is my intention to be the head coach of the Bearcats football team. I'm under contract. I have a contract. Yeah. I'm here to talk about the Bearcats and only the Bearcats.
Yeah.
And that is a Tennessee hat in my suitcase. Why do you ask? So I would not, unless someone tells me otherwise, my read on this is that is the absolute right political answer to give, and in no way does that refute anything, because as we have heard, there has been no direct contact with Neymar. The contact has all been with Neymar's people, specifically Neymar's father, if you believe the latest reports. Grayson, you did not have the opportunity to opine on Neymar to FC Cincinnati. Your thoughts when you first heard this, and your thoughts now after having some time to digest this information.
My thoughts when I first heard it were that the team was putting it out through Tom Bogert like they've done before to detract from failures and disappointments, to show yes, we get to put in a trophy case for the 4th year in a row that we've been called ambitious by The Athletic. But as the story has developed and as things have gone on, I mean, obviously, if you can do it, you do it.
Yeah. I think that for me, the question remains, I don't know, I have a tough time seeing Neymar here. Just everything I know about Neymar, the person, it does not seem like the city that I would expect Neymar to relocate to.
Sure, but if you can do it, you do it. I bet JD knows Bolsonaro.
I'll bet they know some people. I bet they know some similar people, I would say.
They certainly know some people in common.
Yes.
And so that would be a connection there.
Yes.
Yeah. Grayson, what percent chance would you place on this happening?
3.2.
It's pretty specific right there. Kevin, as the week has gone on, has anything about this changed for you as well?
Honestly, his comments make me more confident. He did not deny it, even if they would have been, political. Santos is my boyhood club. I'm so happy to be here. I can't imagine playing anywhere else. He could have said, sent a what? Absolutely not. No, I'm never leaving. Why would I go to Major League Soccer? That's where bums go to retire. He could have said a million other things where he just says, I don't know. Nope. I'm just going to be here and fulfill my contract.
Yeah. I mean, the classic thing to say is, well, I'm under contract through the end of the season. So,
yeah. So that makes me think he's on the move. I don't know, like, where else would he go is the thing.
I mean, that's already a question Cincinnati fans are familiar with.
Oh, shit.
Where else are you going to go?
Can he play on the new arena football team?
Dude, he would love Great Wolf Lodge.
Apparently, every player we bring in falls in love with Kings Island, and I do not want the team's recruiting staff to not use that. I think it's important to have a photo of Kings Island in the sales pitch wherever they're going.
It should be part of the slide deck. Everybody knows this.
Yes. But I'm thinking about this too. Like, are there teams in Europe that would take him? Sure, but not like Champions League contenders. And I think the Middle East is burnt out on him. I don't know that he would go anywhere else in Europe. I think it would be sacrilegious for him to play for another team like in the Copa Libertadores.
I think this shines off the Middle East here a little bit.
The public investment fund,
the public investment fund very publicly backing out of some of their sports, backing out of some of their major sports deals today. RIP in peace to Live Golf. I'm sorry to the dozens infected.
I'm trying to think of if it's not MLS, it's Liga MX. And if you had the choice to play in the US or Mexico, and Messi plays in MLS, and you want to drum up that rivalry, and you think Cincinnati offers you a good sporting chance at doing that. Yeah, I don't know where else he would go if he's moving, right?
MLS shells out more for these unicorn type deals than Liga MX does, and it's not close. Liga MX was never gonna do the Messi deal, for example.
No. They don't have the mechanisms to, unless it was Club America offering a large financial stake in the parent company, not the team. But the Mexican teams negotiate their media rights individually. They don't even have league media rights to offer to a player. There are a handful of European retirees, if you want to think of it that way, scattered around Liga MX. Not a ton. Some of them in recent years have had horrible experiences. Maxime Saint Germain or whatever, I'm going to butcher his name, played at Newcastle forever, had a horrible experience and left very quickly. So there are deals, but they don't go. What, Ronaldinho played in Mexico for a little bit, so it's not entirely unheard of. But again, if that's what you want to do, playing in MLS gets you access to Leagues Cup and Champions League. So if you pick the right team, you probably still are playing Mexican competition. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So all of that is to say, I think if he's moving to MLS. We are the front runners. Ergo,
I think this is happening. I'm going to up my percentage to 15%. I'm feeling better about this, actually. I know, right? But as I said on the World's Gam, if you're MLS, I would move heaven and earth to find some way to make this deal happen after the World Cup.
Yes.
And capitalize on, well, I mean, you would think that there'd be a bump, but the way the World Cup is being handled right now, this may be the first World Cup in history that decreases excitement about soccer in the host country. All right. Well, not a lot else going on with FC Cincinnati. Let's get over to part 2. Let's preview this weekend's matchup, and then we will get you out of here. Oh, and we are back. Gentlemen, we got a home game. It feels like it's been a minute since we've been able to say that. Feels good heading back to TQL Stadium, regardless of the form the team finds itself in. And, boy, do we have an exciting matchup coming in. Chicago Fire, who have suddenly found themselves as one of the class teams in the East, which might surprise you if you've been a fan of MLS over the past decade, won't surprise you if you listen to the World's Gam Eastern Conference preview, where I think we were all pretty unanimous on the idea that we were expecting a pretty good season from the Chicago Fire this year. I don't know what to say about this game. I don't know how to even start this. Kevin, I'm just going to keep hosting this show since you joined late.
Kevin,
this
is great. I've enjoyed this experience.
Yeah. Kevin, to me, the only interesting question in this match is what formation does FC Cincinnati come out in? Now, we saw the back four deployed against Red Bulls away. They were back in the back three for Toronto last weekend. I guess there's some idea that this is going to be matchup specific. To me, I don't know. I just assume it's going to be same old for FC Cincinnati. What do you think? What are you expecting?
I would hope not. So Chicago was away to Detroit midweek. So hopefully they're a little tired. Hopefully we've got that going for us. That would be nice. They play a 4-3-3. So I don't know where that factors into how we decide to match up to that. But something to keep in mind. I would like to see a continuation of the back four. I guess my question is, do we have a status update on Miles Robinson? Does anybody know if he's available?
I believe Laurel said the entire team was training, is what my recollection was. And that even, what's that guy's name that's never going to play that everyone's all excited about, the young
Kristen
kid?
Kristen Fletcher.
Who's never going to play. So I don't even think he's real. I don't think Kristen Fletcher actually exists. I think that
he scored against us last year.
I think this is a psyop, honestly, that there's just like, he's this person where it's like, we're always going to be sort of like expecting Kristen Fletcher to show up.
Yes. Per Carter Chapley, Miles Robinson was back in the group.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, give me a back four with Miles Robinson and dealer's choice on the other side. And Kyle Smith at right back and Brian Ramirez at left back. Give me Dotto at the wing, Ender at the wing.
Did we ever get an update on Matt Miazga? Like what the status on that is? It looked like a groin injury. I don't recall getting an update at all this week on like what's going on with Miazga.
I would assume we will never hear again until he is either in training or on another team.
Is this one of those situations where he was sent to live with a family on a nice farm someplace else?
They Frankie Amaya him. They sent him to a nice farm upstate in Canada.
It's like, can we visit at least? No. It would be better off if he just runs. There's all this land for him to run on.
Yeah, I would say just match Chicago's shape. Let's match them 4-3-3 to 4-3-3. We should be able to out-talent them and see what happens, man. I believe in us.
Grayson, what are you expecting to see from the FC in terms of formation availability this week?
It's going to be 3 at the back.
It is, isn't it?
We're going to play the 3 at the back with the 2 wing backs, the 3 midfielders, 2 strikers. The strikers are going to be Dotto and Barlow. And
because Denke will be on a suspension for the red card.
It will be.
Yeah. And I don't know what else we gotta. What else you need from me?
I don't know. I think that the problem right now is that I think that Pat. Pat is searching for results, and like when he needs results, we're going back home to what we do best, which is grind games out.
Pat is not searching for results. Pat has an idea of how they play, and he's playing how they play. Okay. So we're going to see Dotto and Barlow up top, and it's going to work so well.
Oh, okay. I do love that.
It's going to work so well. Dotto is going to have a brace.
Okay.
How many Chicago going to score, though?
Yeah, hang on. Do we win?
Like 5.
Yeah.
we lose 5-3.
But honestly, we have fun doing it, and that's all I'm looking for here. Give me my entertainment dollar.
Yeah, I just have I have a feeling that what we're at right now and what we're looking at is that I think there's some internal heat on Pat Noonan. I don't have anything to base that on other than the thought that like there's going to be a month-long break for the World Cup. And I think that Pat needs to have this pointed in a better direction by the World Cup break, or else that's an awfully long time to think about how much money you're spending and what the direction you want this team to have for the second half of the season to be. So there's kind of like good and bad with that. It's good from the standpoint of, yeah, I think that managers should be feeling some heat in this league, especially for teams that are ambitious and teams that are spending, like we talked about with Inter Miami on the World's Game. It's bad in the sense of that a manager in Pat Noonan's situation that does not feel that he has the full confidence of ownership is less likely to try different things to break out of this and more likely to try and double and triple down on what has worked in the past to try and at least stabilize things. And I do worry a little bit that last weekend sent all of the wrong messages to Pat Noonan, that this was a match where, hey, we weren't leaking goals out the back. Things were settled defensively.
Sure.
If it weren't for the red card, that led to their goal. It was anyone's match. We could have gotten our one moment of brilliance and we could have won that and gotten all 3 points. And that's basically, but for the Kevin Denke red card, that was the FC Cincinnati 2024 and 25 blueprint to a T they were playing. And I think if you squint at that game, you can convince yourself, if Denke doesn't get baited into a red, we go on and we win that game 1-0. We find that goal to win. And I'm worried that as a result will be how we play for the remainder of Pat Noonan's tenure in Cincinnati, for better or worse. That like now we saw what happened when we experimented. We're going to go back home and I'm going to win or I'm going to lose doing the thing that I want to do. And we've seen where that leads us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do think that there's a knowledge and wisdom thing going on.
Yeah. Don't disagree.
Where it's like, yeah.
All right. Well, we should put some predictions out there. Kevin, you were the late joiner to the show. What do you got for this match?
2-0 to the FC. It's a victory.
All right. Grayson?
I already said we lose 5-3.
Lose 5-3.
What a fun prediction.
Oh my God. 8 goals. I am going to predict that we again draw 1-1. I would love if we scored 3 goals. I don't think they got it in them if they're playing a back 3. I do not foresee that happening. And
no Denke. Oh.
Yeah. I will say that the thought Grayson had about Dotto and Barlow playing striker, man, I'd have a lot of questions if I was ownership about where that $1 million went to Ayoub Jabari if he can't see the field when Kevin Denke is unavailable.
But I'll say this. I think that maybe it's even more likely that they play Jabari in Barlow at striker. If they do play Jabari and Barlow at striker together, I don't know, man. I got a lot of questions about that. That seems, I'm sorry. That seems stupid.
That's tough. That's a tough look right there. It's not the most, oh man, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun. I'll be there. Kevin, you attending the match?
I will absolutely be there.
Grayson, you attending the match?
Yes, sir.
We'll all see it together. Whatever happens, we'll talk to you about it on Monday morning Until then, Kevin, do you want to do the honors since I have hosted the entire show?
Yes. Okay, I've always wanted to do this. Okay, let me see if I can get this right. Fuck
Release
Columbus.
the tapes.
Release. Bring back the Tampa Bay Mutiny.
And fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They are a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.